Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 13, text number 29 onwards. Maitreya Uvacha Ango Dvijavachaha Shutva Yajamanaha Sudurmanaha Tat Prashtum Vyasrajvacham Sadasyamstad Anujnaya. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Maitreya explained that King Anga, after hearing the statements of the priests, were greatly aggrieved. At that time he took permission from the priest to break his silence and inquired from all the priests who were present in the sacrificial fire. Text 30. Na gachanti ahuta deva na grananti grahaniha sadaspattayo bhruta kim avadyam maya kritam. King Anga addressed the priestly order. My dear priest, kindly tell me what offense I have committed. Although invited, the demigods are neither taking part in the sacrifice nor accepting their shares. Sadasaspattayo uchuhu naradeveha bhavato nagam tavam manakstitam asti ekam prakritanam agham yad ihedriktvam aprajaha. The head priest said, O king, in this life we do not find any sinful activity, even within your mind, so you are not in the least offensive. But we can see that in your previous life you performed sinful activities, due to which, in spite of having all qualifications, you have no son. Purport. The purpose of marrying is to beget a son, because the son is necessary to deliver the father and forefathers from hellish conditioned life in which they may be. Chanakya Pandita therefore says, Putrahinam graham shunyam. Without a son, married life is simply abominable. King Anga was a great, pious king in this life. But because of his previous sinful activity, he could not get a son. It is concluded, therefore, that if a person does not get a son, it is due to his past life. Text 32. Tata sadhaya badram te atmanam samprajam ripa ishtaste putra kamasya putram dasyati yajnabhu. O king, we wish all good fortune for you. You have no son, but if you pray at once to the Supreme Lord and ask for a son, and if you execute the sacrifice for that purpose, the enjoyer of sacrifice, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will fulfill your desires. Tata bhagadhyeni grahasyanti divau kasaha yad yajna purushaha sakshat apatyaya harirvrataha. When Hari, the supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices, is invited to fulfill your desire for a son, all the demigods will come with him and take their shares in their sacrifice. Purport. Whenever a sacrifice is performed, it is meant for satisfying Lord Vishnu, the enjoyer of the fruits of all sacrifices. And when Lord Vishnu agrees to come to a sacrificial fire arena, all the demigods naturally follow their master and their shares are offered in such sacrifices. The conclusion is that the sacrifices performed are meant for Lord Vishnu, not for the demigods. Tam sthan kaman harir dadyat yan yan kamayate janah आराधितो यतैवैष तथा pumsam phalodayah. The performer of sacrifices under karmakanda activities achieves the fulfillment of the desire for which he worships the Lord. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that he awards benediction to the worshipper according to his desire. The Supreme Personality of Godhead gives all living entities conditioned within this material world full freedom to act in their own way. But to his devotees, he says that instead of working in that way, better to surrender to him, for he will take charge of the devotee. That is the difference between a devotee and a fruitive actor. The fruitive actor enjoys all the fruits of his own activities. But a devotee, being under the guidance of the Supreme Lord, simply advances in devotion service to achieve the ultimate goal of life, to go back home, back to Godhead. The significant word in this verse is kaman, which means sense gratificatory desires. A devotee is devoid of all kama. He is anyabhilashita shunya. A devotee is always devoid of all desires for sense gratification. His only aim is to satisfy or gratify the senses of the Lord. This is the difference between a karmi and a devotee. Thus sends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So King Anga was seeking from Maitreya seeking from the priest what could be the reason that the demigods are not absent, are not present in the sacrifice that I have elaborately arranged. And the head priest said, "O king, in this life, we do not find you to have committed any sinful activity, not even within your mind. And therefore it must be due to your previous life. You have performed sinful activities, due to which you are not having a son." And they advised him that he should pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who will fulfill his desires. And the demigods are advising that when Hari is pleased, then your desires will be fulfilled. And the demigods also will get their shares of the yajna. So the principle of this material existence, the principle under which this material existence runs, is the stringent laws of karma, which is the law set up by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the creator of everything. That law, the principle of that law, is a law of equal opportunity. At the same time, responsible for how you utilize or misutilize the opportunity. So much is the as Prabhupada says, the purport, each living entity in this material world are free to act whichever way they can act. The living entity cannot do anything and everything. But he has got many alternatives to do or not to do. So this option is there for the living entity in the human form of life especially, to decide to either act in his constitutional position as servant of the Lord or as an independent person. Independent desires. One who has independent desires. And the world is full of that. Because this world is designed, material world is designed for people who have desires not at all relevant, connected to God. There are so many bona fide desires that the human being can have when he is in this material world. Not that he has to become desireless. So many bona fide desires. But those desires have to be in line with the ultimate purpose that the Lord has set for the living entities. To fulfill their not superficial desires, but their deep desires for devotional service. So no living entity can keep quiet even for a moment. That Krishna says. Continuously, if you'll have to do something. No, I don't want to do anything, I'll go and sleep. No, in sleep you are also dreaming. There also there is rasa. Sukha, dukkha, everything. So, first point is that we are always active. That is our nature. Why? Because service is our nature. Service is our dharma. So service means offering something. So devotion service is one type of service that the living entity can constitutionally engage in the spiritual world, or alternatively, he can engage in fruitive activities. So everything is under the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We should understand that. There's nobody who is not within the control of the Supreme Lord. Whether he believes in the Supreme Lord or not. A non-believer also has to act according to the limitations and facilitations that the material energy provides him. And material energy works under this Supreme Lord's direction. Mayadhyakshena prakriti suyacheta characharam. So, this kind of an understanding of purpose of human life, purpose of every other life in this world, the ultimate purpose of being born into this material world. And the process that is designed for living entity to go back to his original position of devotion service if he chooses to. So in every possible way, anywhere and everywhere, every part and parcel of God is in relationship with the Supreme Lord, directly or indirectly, personally or impersonally. Nothing can be disconnected from Krishna. So it is his devotees understand and they see the will of the Lord everywhere. Will is different, wish is different. Lord wills that the material creation comes forth. Lord wills due to which the laws of material nature are acting. Lord wills the entire arrangement of the material world. But the Lord wishes that we don't even come into this material world, we go back to Him. That is His wish. So because He has given free will to each of us, therefore, the Lord has also given these two possible alternatives. Of course, the modern world, that if somebody is following the karma kanda and he is having material desires, and there is the pure devotee or those who are aiming towards pure devotion service, they both are, you can say, both are, one is dependent for material desires, and another is dependent on the Lord for serving the Lord Himself. But there is another class of people who are not at all, don't even follow the karma kanda or anything. So that was in the Vedic civilization, that was very rare. Even asuras, they used to follow all the karma kanda rules. Yajnas to gain strength, power. Ravana, Hiranyakashipu. Because certain things are encoded within the material energy, impersonally encoded. Lord does not interfere with that. He does not interfere with that. Even though it is a Lord Hari who sanctions all the yajnas, results of all the yajna, we have to understand that the person who performed the yajna as per karma kanda, he may or he may not offer things to Hari, like the Ravana and great demons. They were simply following the karma kanda and gained so much of power. Okay, in the material world, tapas gives power. Tapas gives power. So they engaged in all of these demons, they engaged in great tapas. Austerity gives power. So as far as those who are wanting to go back to Godhead, they understand this whole scheme. It is very important to understand this whole scheme. The big picture you have to understand. Krishna's purpose of this creation. Krishna's purpose of everything. Krishna's purpose of family life. Krishna's purpose of yajna. Krishna's purpose for karma kanda. The Vedas. Various aspects of Vedas. Because a devotee means he understands the mind of the Supreme Lord. So why do we read the Shastras? Maybe it is not connected to us directly. We chant Hare Krishna and why we have to know about karma kanda and all this. Even that it exists. Because it is, everything that the Lord arranged, everything that the Vedas say, it is coming from the Lord. It's Krishna's intelligence, Krishna's mind. I may not be a karma kandi, but I should know that what is my Lord's arrangement. Sense gratification, what role it has got for non-devotees, for mixed devotees, for pure devotees. So this whole scheme of the Supreme Lord, or the will of the Supreme Lord, by which you understand the whole thing, how it works. The paradigm, total paradigm of Bhagavatam. If you understand that, then we can be in sync with Krishna's intelligence and mind. Because surrendering to Krishna means being in sync with the Supreme Lord's mind and intelligence. That is why we have to read all this, we have to hear all this, we have to understand. And the entire scheme of this material world and the spiritual world, material body, spiritual body, karma, devotional service, all these things are what is summarized beautifully in Srimad Bhagavatam. So, desire for sense gratification or fruitive, that devotees want to give up fruitive mentality. The material world, I earn, I enjoy. That is the attitude of fruitive mentality. That is a fruitive mentality, is an existential attitude that everybody is having. Nobody is even questioning that. He's taking for granted. He's born in a body and then he is after sense gratification. You know nothing more than that. But it is only through education, through samskaras, in the family, in the society, that one gets educated. Things beyond sense gratification. Life's purpose is only sense gratification. You don't need any philosophy. Because animals are also living like that. Like Prabhupada says, you don't have to teach anybody eating, sleeping, mating, defending. You're born with that. But everything else is taught. In animal society, only that. There is no education. Here, there is education that That means by proper Vedic guidance of a spiritual master, a human being goes through four varnas, stays within the four varnas, four ashramas, and he engages in occupation according to the four varnas. So human being, he evolves beyond an animal into what? Into realizing him as not the body, that he is spirit soul. He is spirit substance, aham brahmasmi. Animal, the Atma inside the animal is also Brahman. But he does not know. Brahman and body is there. But a human being, when he gets the samskara, the Vedic samskara, he gradually realizes he is also acting. The body is a combination of Brahman and Yantra. Slowly the Brahman separates, the soul separates, the spirit separates. I am the spirit, I am not matter. That comes out by following this systematically, whatever the Vedas are guiding us. So just see how important is the Vedic civilization. Whereas the modern world, not only Western world is more, but even here, for centuries we have blindly followed the Western goal of sense gratification. So our Vedic culture is remnants, whatever is remaining of the Vedic culture, without much spirit in it, because spirit is, everybody is after sense gratification, like in the Western philosophy, modern world, because of modernization. So Prabhupada, by bringing this Krishna consciousness movement to the modern world, has given a great opportunity for Indians to immediately revive this whole paradigm of higher purpose of human life to achieve Krishna's lotus feet. So this whole, nobody has, no other philosophy, nobody has an entire picture of life, suffering, happiness, karma, than what our Vedic philosophy, Vedic understanding has given, our scriptures give to, even to this modern world. For those who are born in India, it is easier, because of being born in a culture which is not completely become westernized. Not yet. So almost going on like that. Now there is a kind of a renaissance by the will of the Lord, as predicted by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, golden period. Otherwise nobody cares, even 25, 30 years back. Only as a matter of ritual some things were there within the people of this country, but the essence was almost absent. We also know in our younger days, in our school days, everywhere, nothing. Some festivals are there. That is our only connection with our culture. Isn't it? Some festivals are there. As a child, I that know why that festival or nothing, Diwali is coming. Ganesh festival is coming. Or Janmashtami is coming. That's all. Some festivals is part of our social life. But it has got such a deep purpose and a value to save humanity from suffering. Because if we don't raise our samskara beyond the animal samskara, we'll go back to the animal body, which is an apt body for us, for that consciousness. Whatever you remember at the time of death, you will go to that kind of a life. So such a deep insight is provided by these wonderful sources of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So therefore, for the welfare of the humanity, we should preach this, revive this Vedic civilization. And among them, within that, the Amrita is devotion service. Amrita is Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. So therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in this Kali Yuga, do sankirtana and preach Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. That's all. These two are enough for getting the essence of all the Vedic literatures. And the Yuga Dharma is the Sankirtana. For material or spiritual, you want material desires also, just do Sankirtana. Those who come to surrender to Srila Prabhupada, those who are serious about awakening Krishna Prema, of course we don't tell them, because they know that I have to get Krishna Prema, that's the best thing I can get from the holy name. But that does not mean that if we should not propagate Sankirtan Yajna to be done by everybody in their own families, for not only spiritual welfare, for material welfare also. That is the meaning of Yuga Dharma. Yuga Dharma means it is the Dharma for everybody, not only those who are pure devotees or those who are aiming to be pure devotees, those who are full-time devotee, initiated members of Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. So that is a serious approach. So we should be interested in simply making families chant Hare Krishna. Propagate the Sankirtana movement everywhere. Not that we should think, oh, it's a waste, they are not very serious, they are attached to so many things. The grahasthas, they are attached to so many things. The chanting is not meant for them. Chanting, you should chant offenselessly without the 10 offenses. Those are all advanced things. But the wish of and will of the Lord is that Sankirtana Yajna is the Yuga Dharma. Where somebody else would be doing this yajna, that yajna for so many things. Stop that and chant Hare Krishna. Just like when there was drought in Hyderabad. Prabhupada was there in Hyderabad, staying for a few weeks. So many press, so many people came. Prabhupada said, you all, please engage in Sankirtana, you'll get rains. And Prabhupada also told devotees to perform Sankirtana. Newspapers also published that, what Prabhupada said, and it rained. We have a relationship with the holy name where we don't use the holy name for any of our material desires. We are fortunate to be taught under pure devotees in this Guru Parampara. We are fortunate to be taught how exactly to associate with the holy name. Doesn't mean that we should not, one way or the other, deliver this holy name to the people who will innocently, ignorantly, but innocently touch the holy name and get their material desires and spiritual desires fulfilled. So as far as a welfare activity that we are doing, we do our japa, we want to make progress in our advancement, everything. But our welfare activity is to do everything, all kinds of material arrangements, that's preaching, temples, there's so many things, so that this holy name can be delivered, Prabhupada's books can be delivered. So somewhere they begin. Very, very powerful to lift the consciousness from very low level to the high level, which may take many, through normal process described in the Vedas. It's a very slow process. Here is a shortcut. The process, just like in it's a Kali Yuga, deep discount is given. What you achieve in other yugas, by Ashwamedha Yajna, by so many other processes which are very difficult to execute. And those executed for thousands of years, 10,000 years, that phala you get simply by making people to simply chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Any questions? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।